Welcome to our Breakfast Club call. Today is Thursday, June 13th, 2024. My name is Pamela Pacheco, and as always, I have the honor, pleasure, and privilege of being your host on this beautiful Thursday morning. Welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome home. Welcome. If you are joining us once again, welcome home. I remember when I first embarked upon entrepreneurship over a decade ago, I was looking forward to these type of morning mentorship calls. Not only was I looking forward to these type of calls because of the information I was going to receive, but I was looking forward to these type of calls for the inspiration I was going to receive. Garbage in is garbage out. Greatness in is greatness out. So kudos to each and every single one of you guys that decided to start your morning with some fire, some positivity, some great energy, some inspiration this morning. So welcome, welcome, welcome. No, I am not in the Dominican Republic. I know my background seems as such, but I am happy to be home, fresh back from RTE. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have each and every single one of you guys on. Thank you for the love. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So type a 1 in the chat if you were at RTE, which is our regional training event last weekend. Last weekend, we had regional training event across half a dozen, I want to say almost a dozen cities, a little bit over half a dozen cities that we had. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I want to talk to you guys about a few things. I want to talk to you about a few things today. So one of the things, yes, I love that. I love that. Thank you. That means you were in Atlanta. Atlanta, I had a surprise drop in Atlanta. I actually trained in Atlanta with Roy Woods Jr. this past weekend. It was incredible. So much value. Always happy to serve the people. Always happy to serve our community. So greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, I heard Austin great and Lisa was our absolutely amazing. Yes, yes, yes. I absolutely love that. And Jason Elliott, great, great. Yes, I heard all of the trainers killed it in each and every single city. So how do we go back into the new week? How do we keep that fire from the regional training event into this now, into not only the rest of this month, because we're allowed to have a bad week, but not a bad month, but how do we apply this into going into a new week, finishing the month off strong, but going into a new month and making sure we are geared up for Freedom Academy. If you have not got your tickets for Freedom Academy as of yet, I strongly suggest that you get your tickets for Freedom Academy. Freedom Academy is exactly that. It's going to teach you how to get freedom. And if you have not experienced one of our national events, I highly suggest that you do so. I've never seen anybody go to a national event and just not be a better person, not be a better human, let alone, of course, not be a better business person, not be wiser, not have the skill sets. And if you are considering if any type of if anything is holding you back, such as time or money, it's even more of a reason why you need to be in Freedom Academy getting your freedom, right? That's I'm just going to say that. But go to secretdirectevents.com and make sure you are registered. So fresh out of a training, how do you keep that momentum? How do you keep that fire going from the training weekend? Type a 1 in the chat if you're like, well, I want to keep that fire going out from the training weekend. It is absolutely important for me. Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. So there's a few things that we have to do, right? And the reality is that we have to take some steps to not only retrain our brain, but by retraining our brain, we're going to be able to retrain our mindset, right? We're going to be able to change our habits. We're going to be able to change our day-to-day. And the reality is that not everybody has got into this business for, to make residual income. Some people just got into this because they just want a few extra dollars. Some people got into this just because they want to age backwards. Some people got into this just because they want, our nutrition is amazing. Some people got into this just because they want to take amazing escapes, like over 150 of our friends right now that are in Panama. I am having FOMO, but it's okay. Are in Panama, right? And I'm not talking about Panama City, Florida. I'm talking about Panama, the country, taking over the Dreams Resort. So it depends, right? What did you get into it for? Only you can answer that. But if you are in this for freedom, in any aspect, if you want freedom, if you want time freedom, if you want money freedom, if you want the freedom to build other businesses, if you want the freedom to have the time to learn skill sets so that you can conquer other endeavors, so that you can be a present mom, so that you can be a present dad, so that you can be a present daughter or a present son or a present wife or a present husband or a present sister or a present brother or a present friend or just a present person, it is absolutely of the essence that we take some steps to retraining our brain, right? And the reality is that the first thing is we have to remove. If you're taking notes, note takers or history makers, number one, write this down, is we have to remove. Getting rid of old mindsets makes room for the new ones, right? So we got to remove some things. And the reality is that if we ever like think of our human brain, isn't the human brain just fascinating? Don't you just think of, you know, how fascinating the human brain is? And in fact, research shows that on average, we experience 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts every day. Like, have you been minding your thoughts? 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts every day. And each thought strengthens and solidifies the network of neural pathways in our brain. And it's similar to how a well-worn hiking trail, right, flattens the more it is walked. That's kind of the same thing of our brain. And part of becoming a great leader is learning how to mind our mind and making sure that we're getting better as entrepreneurs, making sure that we're getting better as leaders requires a continual cycle of removing, of renewing, and resetting our thoughts. And over time, these new pathways are created that our mind then transforms. So what thoughts will you prioritize, right? How can you remove some of these mindsets? And one of those things to shift from old mindsets to start thinking like an entrepreneur, to start thinking like a successful network marketer, successful businessman or businesswoman, is you need to undergo a transformation of your beliefs, your habits, and your approaches. And when you think of like, well, Pam, like, how does that happen? Well, number one is having some self-awareness, right? It's some self-awareness that takes place, self-awareness and mindset shifts. So identifying what are those limiting beliefs, recognize and list the beliefs that hold you back. Take some time to journal, whether it's today, whether it's this week. Take some time to journal. Like, we're going into the second half of the year. Identify what are some limiting beliefs. Recognize and list all of the beliefs that are holding you back. It can be fear of failure. It can be aversion to risk. It can be self-doubt, whatever that looks like. But identify some of that. Identify what that looks like for you. For everybody, it may look a little different. And here's the reality: adopting a growth mindset. So embrace the idea that abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort, with learning. Focus on growth and learning from your failures, from your mistakes, right? From the things that didn't go too well. Type a 1 in the chat if you actually learned something. All of the chats are coming in, right? So many people said, I learned this at this last RTE. I heard Tampa was on fire with Eric Rishbowski and Kia Valentine and Melanie Levitz. It's every single market. People came from near and far to pour their heart out. Why? Because it is so, so, so important that we are continuously learning. That is how we retrain our mind. That is how we take away those things that do not serve us and fill them up with new ones, right? Here's another one. Making sure that we are still reading books, right? Making sure that we are still taking courses, making sure that we're still learning from our mentors. Education and skill development is priceless, right? Making sure you're tuning in to the calls, making sure that you're reading the books, whether it's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill or Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki or Go Pro by Eric Worre. If you ever want to take this for a professional, to a professional level, Go Pro by Eric Worre. I believe everybody should read that book in this industry. Go Pro by Eric Worre, 1000%. The Magic of Thinking Big. by David Schwartz, one of my favorite books. I've probably reread that book over 7 times. I love that book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Listen, I'm not the person that, like, I love the Tim Grover books, Relentless, Winning. I love those books. I love the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, but your girl's not the girl that like needs a whole bunch of what I don't need help with consistency, if I'm being real with y'all, right? Like I'm consistent. It's just who I am as a human being. I don't need help with that. But when you talk about you want to be a professional in this industry, and when you talk about amplifying your mindset, oh my goodness. You want to be a professional, Go Pro by Eric Worre. Absolutely, absolute best, one of the best books. You want to think big, you want to amplify your mindset, you want to amplify your entire experience. Absolutely, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, like hands down. And making sure that when you are also in this thing and you want to get rid of old mindsets, yes, self-awareness and mindset shifts, right? Educating yourself. Absolutely. But also your relationship building genuine relationships. Focus on building authentic relationships rather than just making sales. That is something that is so important in this industry, and it's going to provide value to your network. Also, leveraging your social media, utilizing platforms like your social media to connect with like-minded individuals and potential customers. So making sure that these are things that are coming into your day to day, because this is going to help you get rid of old mindsets and make room for the right ones, right? Get rid of old mindsets and make room for the new ones, for the right ones. That is how you remove those things to retrain your brain. And you want to talk about developing entrepreneurial habits. Well, setting goals, right? And we're going to talk about that in a second, taking action and embracing these things. And we're going to talk about that as we reset. But these are different ways that you are retraining your brain by removing the things that are not serving you, filling them with the things that are serving you. What is it that you're reading? Are you check your thoughts? What is it that you're listening to? Check your screen time. Go see where is your activity going on your phone. Where's your attention and energy flowing to? What is consuming your thoughts? What is consuming your time? Because if it's consuming your time, 9 out of 10 times, it means it's consuming your mind. And if it's consuming your mind, that means that it is consuming your heart space. It is consuming your day-to-day activity. It is consuming what you're doing on there. So these are just little things that we can be mindful of when we are taking inventory of retraining our brain. Again, removing the things. Here's another one, renew. Not every thought deserves your agreement. So it's okay for you to renew your mindset. So if you're like, well, how am I renewing my mindset? Well, it's going back to what we were talking about, right? You're embracing a growth mindset. You're believing that your abilities and intelligence, it can be developed through hard work, through learning, through perseverance. And the reality is that the mindset fosters resilience in the face of challenges. So one of the greatest things is to think long-term. Successful entrepreneurs, and it's not only in the network marketing industry, in business, in the business world, we're focusing on long-term goals and visions. We have clear objectives of what that looks like. We're breaking them down into achievable milestones, the little micro goals that I talked to you guys about, little things that you can do in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Don't overwhelm yourself and saying, I want to get to 1,000 squared. Yes, is that the goal? Absolutely. But how can you just be consistent today with where you're at? How can you be where your feet are right now and make the most of it? And yes, you're thinking long term, but right now you're embracing a growth mindset by saying, what can I do today? What can I do today? What's one hard thing that I can do today? What's one more thing that I can do today? Right? So thinking long term as well, being solution oriented. Instead of dwelling on problems, Train yourself to seek solutions. This involves creative thinking and adaptability, taking calculated risks, assessing potential risks versus rewards, and don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. Entrepreneurs, we understand that failure is part of the journey, but you're failing forward. And I believe that you never fail if you're learning. You're either winning or you're learning, because you're never losing as long as you're learning. So what does that calculated risk to look like for you? Is it a little bit uncomfortable for you to go do a presentation in person if you don't have a push play? Yeah, I get it. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you guys, perfection is the enemy to execution. And shout out to Mr. Josh Valentine that reminded me of that last week on our Breakfast Club call, because I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And that put a fire in me, because I went ahead and I recorded the Spanish push play that is circulating all over the company now, right? Because I knew I don't like how I sound in Spanish, and I'm just being very honest with you. And I know you guys are like, what? You talk on TV in Spanish all the time. Yeah, I know. And I don't watch none of them, right? Like, I don't like how it sounds. But here's what I do know. I needed to get it done. And done is better than perfect all day long. And is that perfect? No. But are people getting people started? Absolutely. Is it working? Yes. Is it helping with the team that I'm building in the Dominican Republic? Absolutely. So a lot of times you got to understand that you have to step outside of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is not your wealth zone. Is it uncomfortable picking up the phone sometimes to call people? Yes. Is it uncomfortable to call people and to message them and to get uncomfortable? Yes. Oh my goodness. Guys, like, I'm being transparent. Y'all know we keep it hot over here. Honest, open, and transparent. I cannot stand when somebody tells me no. I can't stand it. Just being real with you, right? Because it's the audacity to tell me no. This is how I feel. But here's also my mindset. Next one. Every no means next one. Every no means next opportunity. Every no means you're not the right one. That's okay. I'm looking for the ones that are looking for me. When people tell me no, I remember before I used to just be like, are you crazy? Now I just laugh, because like, you're telling me no. And I'm sorry, and it's not to sound no type of way, but I was just on TV talking about the best way to travel, the best way to do business. And you're telling me no. Okay. Right. But it's also even before all of this TV and like before that, I still felt the same way. I don't like nobody telling me no. That's just me. That's my personality. And I know that. But here's the reality. That does not stop me. It's uncomfortable, but it does not stop me, because I understand every no is going to lead me to the right one. Every no is going to get me closer to the yes. Every no means next one or next opportunity. That's what it is. So that stuff is like, I don't major in minor things. And the reality is that we let these things hold us back from what it is that we know that could be done. And when we're talking about, practicing, mindfulness and making sure we're retraining our brain and making sure we're renewing our brain and renewing our mindsets, because not every thought deserves your agreement. You have to put yourself in a position to say, well, how am I going to how am I going to do a mindset shift? Right? Type a MS in the chat, because you're like, I want to do a mindset shift right now. I'm going to do a mindset shift. Embrace a growth mindset, number one. Learning from your failures. View setbacks as learning opportunities. Continuous improvement. Always seeking ways to improve your skills and knowledge. Thinking long-term. Have a vision. Develop a clear vision for your business and your personal growth. Right? So mindset shift. Again, number one, embrace a growth mindset. What does that mean? Learning from failures, viewing setbacks as learning opportunities, continuous improvement, always seeking ways to improve our skills and our knowledge. Number two, thinking long-term, have a vision, Develop a clear vision for your business and your personal growth. What is that going to look like for you? Having the patience to think long term, understand that success takes time and persistent and consistent effort, and we'll get into that in a second. Adapting an abundance mindset or mentality, number 3. That's how you do a mindset shift. What does that look like? Adopting an abundance mentality, Pam. What does that look like? Are you saying things like opportunities are everywhere? Opportunities seek me? Do you say that every day? I say that every single day. Opportunities are everywhere. I constantly attract an overflow of abundance because of the abundance that I add and value into other people's lives. Opportunities are everywhere. Believing that there are ample opportunities for everyone. I believe that 150 billion%. If you know me or you spend any time around me, two things. You're going to be brainwashed into believing in yourself and believing in abundance. This is just how I move. That's just how I operate, right? Adopting an abundance mentality also means collaboration over competition. Us people that are winning at the top is because we're collaborating. The people that are losing at the bottom is because they're competing and they're still stuck in that mindset. Working with other people to achieve mutual success is a must. It's an absolute must, right? Goal setting, and we're gonna get into that a little deeper. But habits and daily practices. What do your goal setting look like? Your SMART goals. And if you haven't heard about SMART goals, they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. So SMART, the acronym SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. Setting those goals, daily goals. You break down those big goals into little micro goals. You break down the long-term goals into daily actionable tasks. So you want to get to the next squared level. For example, my next squared level is 100 squared, right? I know I need to get to 100 squared. So I've already done the math of what that looks like per day, how many new people need to get started by Freedom Academy so that it happens. Okay, well, I'm not only focusing on 100 squared. I'm not focusing on the hundreds of people that need to get started. What I'm focusing on is what can I do today? What little things can I do today? I need to get back to where I'm hitting up 20 people every single day. So you know what I started with? 5. Okay, I did 5 now. Okay, now I can go up to 10. Now I did 10 consistently for 2 days. Okay, now I can do 15. I'm just raising my micro goal by 5 because I'm not going to give myself more than I can. I'm not going to bite off more than I can chew. So be honest with yourself. What does those micro daily goals look like for you? Right? Time management, prioritizing your task, focusing on high impact activities. What does that look like for you each and every single day? What does that look like for you? Avoiding procrastination, utilizing techniques like the Pomodoro technique to stay productive. The Pomodoro means 25 minutes, you're blocking it off at a time. And it's interesting because, you know, one of these things for when we're talking about retraining your brain is we've talked about removing, getting rid of old mindsets, making room for the new ones, for the right ones and the new ones. Renew, not every thought deserves your agreement. And the third thing is resetting. Practice makes permanent, right? So the reality is that for you to reset, you got to think of what it is that is going to allow you to reset. And when we're sitting here and we're like, okay, well, I know that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change things, right? And I'm going to set the tiny goals that Pam said, and I'm going to make sure that I am working on these things and building my mindset and all of these things. And absolutely, right? Your goal setting, your time management, but avoiding the procrastination is key. You want to be consistent. I used this at the training event in Atlanta, and I said, focus on your core. What does your core mean? to you? If I ask each and every single one of you, CORE, what does that mean? Your core. Some people will tell me it's your heart. Some people will tell me it's your strength. It's your core, right? Your core is, as long as your core is strong, by the way, in your body, if you're talking to a personal trainer, they'll tell you if your core muscles are strong, every other part of your body will be strong. And in essence, if our heart is strong, right, and our mind is strong, everything else will fall into place. But when I talk about your core, all of those things is what I'm talking about. But also your core is what you need to be consistent. Your core, the C in your core is, the C for core is consistency, right? What can you do to be consistent? What can you do? See, and the O for in that is organized. You got to organize your time. It goes back to what we're talking about, your time management. It's, what does your calendar look like? I can know everything about your business by you showing me what your calendar looks like or what it doesn't look like. Everything in my life is scheduled. Everything. Everything is scheduled on there, right? What does organization is key to keeping you consistent. So even if all you're doing is scheduling 1 hour, that's 1 hour that you committed to your goals. Type a 1 in the chat if your dreams, if your goals are worth 1 hour, just one. I'm not asking you to do 20 hours a day. I'm not asking you to do 20 hours a week. I'm not asking you to do 50, no, just one. Type a 1 if just 1 hour is worth it. Are your dreams, are your goals, is your freedom worth an hour? Is the impact that you want to make in other people's lives, is it worth 1 hour? Yes, I see the ones coming through. Amazing. Make sure you're sending it to all panelists and attendees so everybody can see your ones too. All right. Remember this. I'm not asking for you to do a whole lot, just committing to what you can commit to. What does that organization look like for you? For me, it might be different than what it looks like for you, but you want to be consistent is strengthening your core, your consistency, your organization. Just get organized. Put it in your calendar. Block it out. Be like, hey, you know what? During my lunch, I'm going to do it from this time to this time. When I'm done with lunch, after work, I'm on the ride home, I'm going to invite for 10 to 15 minutes. Trust me, guys, I get it. And running multiple businesses at a very high level, world-class level, and also volunteering at church, and also being a sister, and also being a daughter, and also being a community activist. I wear many, many hats. But here's what I do know, that time, we have enough of it if we make the best use of what we have. And it's organizing your time. It's compartmentalizing your time, compartmentalizing your day, compartmentalizing your goals. What does that look like for you, right? So making sure that we organize ourselves, because that is key. Time management, that is key to us being consistent, to us making sure, hey, we're retraining our brain. So for rewiring it for success. Calendar optimization, organization is key. Here's another R. Here's the R for your strong core, right? It's reliability. Are you reliable? Can people say you are reliable? And if people can say that you are reliable in life, can they also say you're reliable in business? Can they say that? Can they say that about you? That's a great question to ask yourself, but that's what's going to keep you, those are the characteristics of people that are consistent, of people that are consistently persistent, that are resilient, of people that said, hey, you know what? I am going to make sure that I not only get to where I want to go, I want to help the team. People that are great leaders have consistency and the core, but what makes them, yes, is consistent, is organized, but they're reliable. Not only does their family say they're reliable, but their teammates do too. Are you going to do what you said you were going to do? And you're talking about lifelong learning here. You're talking about regularly just reading your books, regularly attending trainings, regularly showing up. Are you reliable? And the reality is that your reliability does not only depend on what it is that you're doing day in and day out, but reliability also leans upon effective communication. Are you actively listening? I did an entire training a few weeks ago for Team Catch Up. All I talked about was effective communication, and maybe I'll touch upon that on the next week's Breakfast Club call, because so many people let things fall through the cracks because they're not effectively communicating. And I was those people. I'll tell you, I used to be the girl that all I cared was about what I cared about. I didn't care about nothing else. All I cared about was that goal. All I cared about was getting to what I needed to care about. And honestly, it wasn't that I didn't care about people, but I didn't engage. Like, people didn't feel that. I didn't show any empathy. I didn't show like, you guys that know me now, you're like, you not showing empathy, you guys will be blown away. But here's what I learned. That part of you being reliable is not only being consistent in your efforts and in your mindset and your skill sets and in showing up and showing out, it's effective communication. It's active listening. It's listening more than you're speaking to understand others. It's listening more than you're speaking to not only understand others, but understand others' needs and their perspectives. That matters. It's clear messaging. It's being clear and concise in your communication to avoid misunderstandings. It's, are you reliable? Because reliability is key. It's also when you're building relationships. Are you showing a genuine interest in others' success and their well-being? Here's another way that determines your reliability. Following up. Are you following up? Are you following up? The fortune is in the follow-up. We spoke about that last week at our event in Atlanta. Fortune is in the follow-up. Regularly following up with contacts to maintain relationships. Shout out to Lisa and Denise. All right, we're all going to Italy in August. We still got room on that trip, by the way. If you guys want information, send me a message or send Lisa and Denise a message. But here's the reality. You talk about follow-up, fortune is in the follow-up. So many people that are going on this Italy trip have came because they were customers of Lisa's and Denise, and they got an email that said, hey, we're going to Italy. We followed up with customers, yes. And by the end of this trip, they'll be Club Secret members in God's name, right? But fortune is in the follow-up. Followed up an entire trip, following up with people. Imagine you following up with people in your business. You following up with people in your life. You following up with people that you had conversations about dreams, about goals, about aspirations, about turning your wildest dreams into a reality. What do those conversations look like? Fortune is in the follow-up. And it's not only following up with people in your business or people that you've exposed the products to, just people in your life. Follow up. Follow up. Just touch base with people. You never know. You never know of who you can impact by that. Just by following up. Here's another way that you show whether you're reliable or not. What does your brand look like? Do you show up as who you are? Is your brand showing up as who you say you are? Your personal branding online, your digital asset, you take with you everywhere. Yes, I help people with brand strategy and business coaching, but I'm not telling you that because of that. Because the reality is, we have the sexiest lifestyle brand in the world. But when you talk about you want people to know that we are the sexiest travel and lifestyle club in the brand, and I did an entire training on this too, is like, are you showing up online sexy? Because some of y'all are showing up online thirsty. There's a difference. There's a difference between hungry and thirsty. I'm just saying. It's a difference. Your brand got to look a certain type of way. And I am going to talk what I talk because my brand looks a certain type of way. I was in the Dominican Republic and I did a brand partnership with one of the top beach clubs on the beach in Playa Bahia in the Dominican Republic. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from La Romana. Beautiful. Did not pay a dime for it. An experience for 6 of us. It was me plus 5 of my cousins. They gave me 17,000 pesos, which is the equivalent to like 300 something dollars towards food, towards drink. Didn't have to pay for a cabana for the entire day. And they gave me an extra $100 to do a reel that I was going to do anyway, because my brand looks how it looks. And now, because I leverage my brand, again, we talk about this all the time, right? Do it and let the company catch up. Now we're working with our Club Secret partners to make this an escape for us too. But you know why? Because my brand looked a certain type of way. I'm reliable for that. One thing you can rely on, that my brand is going to look world class. Everything I do, it's going to look like that, just because that's who I am. So you want to talk about having a culture of sexiness, of world class. Are you reliable on how you're showing up? Is it an infomercial for you? Because if it is, that's not what we're talking about. And if you need help with that, you need to call your girl. I'm just saying, right? But how you're showing up on your social media, it matters. Leveraging your social media, your personal brand is everything. It precedes you. Like, and actively, and here's another thing, actively engaging with the people that are following your social media. Like actively engaging with the people that are liking, that are commenting, that are sharing relevant content. Like your reliability shows up in so much more than you can even imagine, right? And here's the E for your core, is enduring. Enduring. What does that look like for you? What does that until look like for you? I don't know. But here's what I do know, that when you create a plan and you outline the steps that you need to take to adopt these new habits and these new mindsets, and you set a timetable and milestones to track your progress, and you stay consistent enough, right? And you stay consistent enough, and you understand that consistency is the key to create lasting change, and you're sticking to your plan even when it gets challenging, and you know that, hey, it might not look the same tomorrow as it did today, but I have a vision for what this is going to look like, because that vision, it's what's going to pull you when motivation ain't pushing you. Because I get it. Trust me, life's for all of us. Okay? I'm right there with you too. But when you have that plan and you stay consistent enough, and you have a vision, you got to review and adjust accordingly. That's what's going to allow you to endure until you regularly review your progress and you make necessary adjustments to your plan, because this is your plan. It's not my plan. It's not Lisa's plan. It's not Suheni's plan. It's not Denise's plan. It's your plan. What does that look like for you? What is beneficial to you? What works for you? Because what works for you right now may not work for you in a different season and space in your life. But that's okay, because you have to regularly work on what you need to work on. And a lot of times when you're talking about these things that you need to retrain your brain, again, getting rid of the old mindsets, making room for the right ones, renewing. Not every thought deserves your agreement, but resetting. You got to reset, because practice makes permanent. And how you reset is focusing on your core. It is the strongest thing. And you want to talk about being consistent. Is you got to get organized. You got to know you are reliable. You got to put things into play that are going to make you, that are going to allow you to endure until. But if you want to change your life, you have to change your mind. And you want to think about, what thoughts are you going to prioritize? Forget the path to fear. Forge the path to faith. Forget the path to doubt. Forge the path to your purpose. Forget the path to stress. Forge the path to peace. Forget the path to lack. Forge the path to abundance, because you are worthy of living your best life in every single aspect of it. So this has been your Breakfast Club call for Thursday, June 13th, 2024. As always, it is a pleasure, honor, and privilege to serve. Breakfast has been served. Great day and God bless. Appreciate you guys.